This is the MTN Noon News.
And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on your MTN statewide news on this Wednesday. I'm Andrea Lutz. So we begin this afternoon with a conclusion to a crime near Helena after 2 people are sentenced for the 2019 murder of a man north of Canyon Ferry. Dwayne Johnson was committed to the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services for 10 years, while Serena Kilsheimer was going to serve the same sentence at the Montana State Women's Prison. Well, back then, Johnson stabbed Shane White, saying he believed White was going to attack him. He then pled guilty, but mentally ill last month. Court documents say Johnson suffered from mental health and believed the murder was in self-defense. Kilsheimer held White's arms down while Johnson was committing that crime. She is not eligible, though, for parole. A group of neighbors in Butte banded together to stop a suspect from stealing a car, even as shots were fired. Well, this afternoon, Dylan Harrison is behind bars on charges of attempted deliberate homicide. Police say Harrison saw a running vehicle and tried to steal it. The father of the car's owner tried to stop the crime, but Harrison shot at the man 3 times, striking him in the hand. Then another person helped wrestle the gun away. And at that point, another neighbor saw what was happening and helped hold down the suspect until officers arrived.
That's the part that's most sickening. I mean, I'm glad everybody's okay. But, all of us in that neighborhood right there, we all have kids, ages 3 to 7, 8 years old, and they play outside together all the time, and you never have to worry about it. It was a shocking thing to see that happen right there like that.
Harrison is also facing felony counts of assault with a weapon, robbery, and motor vehicle theft. In Bozeman, there is a new sheriff in town. Dan Springer is appointed by commissioners now to lead Gallatin County. Springer served as the undersheriff for 12 years, but now he'll finish Brian Gutkin's term. Gutkin, of course, leaving to become the head of the state corrections department. Springer says he's humbled and honored and ready to hit the ground running. A Montana State University police detective received the Officer of the Year award for her work solving primarily child sex crimes. Amy Ross is a member of the Special Victims Unit, and she recognized for the work she's done. She's concluded 39 forensic interviews and served as lead investigator for 58 felony cases, 35 of which include juveniles. Ross became an MSU student security officer when she was in college. Montanans are no stranger to high winds, but man, it's been damaging. We've seen the damaged houses, even ripped shingles off of roofs. For one family, though, that damage was much more severe. Their home literally destroyed, as you can see in this video. And at around 9 p.m., this on February 21st, Donna and Pete Sampson were awake in their Sanford home with no power. Then they heard their home starting to creak a little. They knew they had to get out. Luckily, both Donna and Pete were able to evacuate that home safely and wait for help in their car. Their home of 40 years, as you can see, completely destroyed. That couple now currently living with family friends. Oh my goodness, that video is so hard to see and so hard to watch. Miller, those winds were tough out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, today those winds are calming down. In fact, let's take a look real quick. Now, off to the eastern part of the state, you can still see we do have at least some breezy conditions, still possibly some gusty stuff. What's happening is it's got this cold front that those winds were chasing behind yesterday, so they kicked back up again. The front pushing away from our area, so the winds are weakening, they're decreasing, but the problem is high pressure that's going to keep us mainly dry today, well, that's going to go to our south, and the gradient around that high pressure is going to tighten tomorrow. And that means, yep, the winds are going to return, and we'll take a look at that here in just a bit. Temperatures around the state and northern Wyoming, mainly in the 20s and 30s right now. We're going to stay below average over the course of the next few days, but maybe trying to rebound to near seasonal by the time we get to the first part of next week. But maybe even cooler temperatures on the way. I'll explain what that's all about as well coming up. Andrew.
Sounds good. Thanks, Miller. On the same day that the United States reached that grim milestone of 500,000 COVID-19 deaths, hundreds received their vaccines at a clinic in Missoula. The clinic now set up at the old Lucky's grocery store at Southgate Mall. Officials say the setup allows healthcare workers to use special care for those being vaccinated by allowing time for questions and making sure that patients are feeling comfortable with the process. Some residents received their first vaccine shot, others received their second, and officials say while testing clinics might be stressful, they can offer hope and relief.
I think this has been much more festive. People are excited. They're happy to get in here and get their shots, and it's really positive. I think that it's been a super streamlined process, and other than the scheduling piece, but once they're here, I think the mood has been really positive and happy, relief to get that shot.
So Missoula County remains in phase 1B of the vaccination process. The health department has a smaller clinic with the Moderna vaccine scheduled for today. It's by appointment only, but for questions about the vaccine, you can call that number that you see right there on your screen for how and when you can get it. This week, the Montana VA will provide COVID doses to more than 5,500 veterans in our state. And because of that, the Montana VA will hold a virtual town hall on updates for distribution. The town hall is set for Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. The next clinic will be held, though, today in Lewiston. So to help avoid confusion, the VA will contact all eligible veterans, and access for the shots is being steered through a pilot program to use a fixed-wing aircraft to get those doses to the rural parts of our state. The first medical school in Montana could be coming to Billings. The proposed Rocky Vista University will feature a 12-acre campus off the intersection of Shiloh and Monad on the west end, and it could break ground as soon as May. The school's already has some of its locations in Colorado and Utah, and city officials say the economic impacts could be huge of this, bringing in millions of dollars to the community, along with over 300 jobs. University leaders say Billings was the perfect location. The osteopathic medical school takes a holistic mind-body-spirit approach to care, and a doctor of osteopathic medicine is slightly different than a traditional medical doctor. However, the same board gives licenses to both types of doctors, and they meet the same standards. Today, Congress will hear more testimony about the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. This time, curators will detail the extent of damage to historical artifacts, presidential statues, paintings, and the inauguration platform. All information about the damage to that, whether it was chemical or physical. And Prepared's testimony puts the estimate at about $25,000 for emergency repairs. The U.S. Postal Service is upgrading its delivery fleet. The new fleet will be more eco-friendly, I should say, of course, with battery-powered vehicles, and the agency will get new high-tech trucks to make mail delivery safer and more efficient. It's all part of a 10-year multi-billion-dollar deal with Oshkosh Defense in Wisconsin. The new vehicles will feature 360-degree cameras, advanced braking, collision avoidance systems, and walk-in cargo areas for packages. Many Postal Service delivery trucks right now are more than 30 years old and in desperate need of an upgrade. Production also could be adding lots of jobs to that. All right, up next on the new news, we have so much more. We know folks are staying home more often during the pandemic, so we're going to introduce you to a Montana business helping those opting to stay home keep entertained. But first, Miller Robson's back in with a look at that statewide weather forecast.